If you're building a custom car audio system or a car interior, having the Mobile Solutions smart templates can go a long way and allow us to make things like this. In fact, I made this shape here using the new Mobile Solutions GT template. Now, this particular template has a ton of new technology that makes custom builds even more simple and efficient. Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm Mark from the YouTube channel CarAudioFabrication, here today on behalf of Mobile Solutions to introduce you guys to this new template, walk you through all of its features, and do a product training so that you guys know how to implement this template and put it to use. To kick things off here, let's take a look at the details of the GT template. Now, much like the other smart templates that are part of the Mobile Solutions line, you can see that there are several nested shapes within each other. The spacing between each of these shapes is exactly 3/16 of an inch, and that is really important because we can shrink or expand this gap depending on the different upholstery materials or finishing techniques that we're using in a build. As an example, if we were doing a carpet to carpet transition, we could leave this gap at 3/16 of an inch to get a nice tight fit because carpet is good and thick. Now, what if we were doing a carpet to vinyl transition? The vinyl is a little bit thinner, so what we could do is we could reduce the size of this gap through our router processes when we're making our pieces. Also, like the other templates, this is made of a shatter-resistant plastic, which allows us to easily flex this if need be when removing it from a panel when we're undoing that double-sided template tape. Now, you'll notice that this template has a series of a ton of different holes through it, and this is to line up and coordinate with the sold separately SFS Axis Shape Creator system. If you guys have this system, what you can do is you can take one of the top rails here and you can connect between some of the different hole points and then use your hardware in order to fasten everything together, and that can allow you to create even more custom geometry. In particular, if we take this shape here and separate it so that we can show this, you'll notice that at the line of symmetry on each of the templates, there are 3 holes, and this is intentional. What you can do is you can take one of the straight pieces and you can offset it slightly to the edge, and now you can see we have a perfect half of this shape with this line right here being perfectly offset so that it matches that line of symmetry. Additionally, if we wanted to break this into 2 equal pieces, what we could do is line up our center rail here on those center holes. And again, if you wanted to use this side instead, you would line up on that right side hole. Now you have this perfect shape with this line of symmetry. Now, something new here on the GT template is the new TAC system, which stands for Template Adjustment Calibration. Part of that system is this hardware here that is included with this template set. It's much like the SFS system, but this allows for this outer ring to be multiple different pieces, but to calibrate itself when we attach everything together to keep this shape here collinear with the rest of the outside wings. Let me take this apart so we can take a closer look. If we take one of these pieces off here and flip it over, you can see that machined groove, that is part of the TAC system. And what it allows this to do is it allows this template to line up perfectly when we reassemble everything back together and to stay nice and solid. That way, when we router around this outside shape, we can do so without having any adjustability or flexing in this shape. And guys, I have to say, I did have my speculations on how well this would all stay together, but I am pleasantly surprised with how strong this system is once you lock it down. The other benefit of this system being like this is we can take this shape away and we can use this other shape that is included, and you can see that if we put that in place, this shape features that standard 3/16 of an inch offset on each of the sides here. So if we did want to make this piece, and this piece all separate pieces wrapped in different materials, we could do so, and then we could easily have that nice perfect transition gap between those different pieces. So if you want a real-world example of how something like that would work, imagine that we're building out a custom trunk layout and we want to have the middle piece go in as one piece and it's going to then bolt into the vehicle, and we could have the bolts over on this side and on this side, and then what we could do with these custom pieces that are wrapped separately, we could have those come in and cover up and hide those mounting bolts. We could do that on each side, and then this center piece here could also be used to cover some of the bolts that are bolting everything together in the middle. The point here is there is a ton of freedom and flexibility for how this system can be used in multiple different ways. And you might be wondering, if these sit at a different level, how can you have a router bit ride against this and then also this? Well, what you'd want to do is you'd want to get a flush trim bit that has stacked bearings like this. This is the quad flush trim bit from Mobile Solutions, and you can see that with that bearing height, it can easily ride against both surfaces. So let's see what the GT template here can do and do a quick demo. I'm going to take this piece right here. This is number 4, which I should have mentioned. It's nice that everything is numbered, because once you copy that shape to a piece, you can write the number on it. That way you don't forget for later. I'm going to take that number 4. I'm going to take this and I'm going to steal some of the hardware off of these, and we're going to do something pretty cool with just these 2 pieces. First off, I cut a piece of wood that is slightly larger than the shape I'm going to be making. I then apply double-sided template tape onto the template itself, and note that I'm avoiding the areas where I want this cross piece to go across. I then add the bolt hardware because I want those bolts sticking up once I stick these pieces together. So once we have everything stuck together, we can take one of our pieces and we can put it like this, and you can see how we can create a unique geometry using these different pieces. There really are a ton of different options here, and you can see that if you have the other parts that are part of the Axis Shape Creator system, you can see how you have all of this additional flexibility. You could always spin things around the other direction. You could do an arc like those. You could do a straight line. Obviously, you could pick different holes. You could do the middle like we were talking about earlier. There is a ton of flexibility here to make each one of these designs unique. So we're gonna head over to the router and start making our cutting passes, and I wanna do the outside cut first, and to do that, I don't want these added quite yet because you can see they would get in the way of cutting this part of the outside shape. So we're gonna leave these off for now, but these fasteners are captured within because we've got this all template taped down. So let's make that outside cut. To make these cuts, I'm using a 1/4 inch spiral flush trim bit with the quad stack. And don't forget that I'm gonna have links to everything I'm using in this video for you guys down in the video description. Just like so. By using the GT Smart template, you can see we have a nice, perfect edge from using that flush trim bit. Now, a couple of side notes here. First off, I'm using MDF light material. MDF light is really, really nice for routering. You can see that I didn't have to rough cut the outside. I was able to just go through that, no problem. If you were using a normal MDF material or something like an acrylic, any other material, you would definitely want to make sure you rough cut. And what that means is you'd want to take your shape, you'd want to draw the outside edge using a marker or a pencil, and then take a jigsaw and cut, but don't cut up to the line. Save about 1/8 of an inch of material. That way, that 1/8 inch is what your router bit is going to remove. Now, the other thing I did off camera is I drilled myself 3 starter holes. That's because the next thing we're going to do is cut out the inside of this shape here, and I need a starter hole in order to insert the bit and start making that cut. So now that we've got those holes made, I can line this up, and I'm going to use my hardware in order to secure this in position. Put a washer and then the knob. So check this out, guys. Now that we finished making those cuts, you can really get an idea for how much flexibility and design there is with this system. And look at this shape. I mean, that is a pretty unique, aggressive, cool looking shape. Imagine if this was in like the rear deck of a car and you had a speaker here and a speaker here and maybe an amp in the middle, or if you were on a subwoofer box and this was just an acrylic viewing window behind and you could see through everything to the subwoofers, or if you only used half of this and this was like a grill on a door in front of the speaker. Lots of different design options. I'm gonna pop these templates off really quick and then we'll do a quick profile bit over on the router. Now that I've done the edge profiling, in just a quick few steps, we've gone from this to this. Check that out, guys. That is a really nice panel. We could finish that off with paint, wrapping it in carpet or vinyl, leather, tons of different options there. But that would look really cool in a build. And as you can imagine, you could of course use this outer piece to go around the outside. You could keep copying shapes. I like the look of that. What do you guys think? To learn more about the GT template and see the other tools and materials that were used in this video, I'm gonna put links for you guys down in the video description. Once again, I'm Mark from the YouTube channel CarAudioFabrication, here today on behalf of Mobile Solutions. Thank you guys for watching.